In this video, we are going to create an article card using JSX. And for the data, we are going to use the variable cardInfo. CardInfo contains information like title, date, comments, subtitle, description, category, and image URL. The UI of the card looks something like this. So what I've done, I've already created the UI of the article here. All we need to do is to convert our normal HTML into JSX and replace it with the information. So first thing what we can do, we can get this information from here and put it into our HTML file. So even here what I've done is, we have already created the boilerplate by using React, ReactDOM and Babel. And we are writing JSX in type equal to text/Babel. So now it's time to write JSX. So when we look at the structure, you can see this is the structure that contains the information for creating the card UI like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take it away from here and put it directly inside our JavaScript. But this is not JSX. How we are going to do that is we can just say let UI is going to be this. So this is my UI. What I want is, I want to put this UI inside the columns class. So we will have to select the column class because that is going to be our root element. So here we'll say let root is going to be query selector and we are looking for column class, right? So we got root, we got card info, and this is our UI. All we need to do at the last is to put the UI using ReactDOM onto the DOM. So right now, when you refresh it, you'll not see anything. Now all we have to do is to put this UI that we have created onto the DOM. And to put anything on DOM, we use ReactDOM. So we'll say ReactDOM.render because ReactDOM has a method called render, which accepts two parameters. What do you want to render and where do you want to render? Now when we refresh it, you will see that the card will appear here. But earlier it was because of HTML, but this time we are creating it using JSX, and that's why we are storing it into a variable, and that variable is going to contain information. Now here, the next thing we need to do is, in normal HTML, you use class. So this is what you're using here. But whenever you're writing it in React, you use class name instead of class. So I'll convert this into class name. So in normal HTML, we have class, and so whenever we write it in JSX, it becomes class name. And now when you save it, refresh it, nothing will change, but in your console, you will not see any kind of error. But what happens when you start using something like class in JSX? You refresh it and here you will see an error saying invalid DOM property class. Did you mean class name? So React will try to help you with fixing the attributes or properties. So in this way, we are done creating the UI. Now all we need to do is to replace this dummy information using our card info variable. The first thing we are going to replace is date and month. So now let's go ahead and start working on date to replace that. So here when we say cardInfo.date, you will get date like this. So date is this special object. What if I just want the day here, like 27? Here in our case it is 26, right? So we want something like this. So we can say, we can use dot on it. And whenever you use dot, you get a lot of methods here. So you get time, second, millisecond, hours, full year, date, day. So say for example, here we need getDate. When you press enter, you see 26, right? So this is exactly what we are going to replace it with. So here we'll put curly brackets because whenever you're using JavaScript, you put it inside curly brackets. And here we'll say cardInfo.date.getDate. So this will give us 26. Next is the name of the month. So whenever you want to get access to name of the month, you can do similar thing. But here, date object doesn't give you name of the month. What it gives you is the index of the month. So when you press enter, you saw 0. Why 0? Is because here the date is January. So here the date starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 11. It doesn't start from 1. And if you want The name of the month like January, February, you will have to do it by yourself. So generally what people do, you just keep it inside an array like this. So I'll just create an array here. We'll say month names, and that is like January, February, and it has all the index. So what you can do is, now you have all the names of the month using index. So that is coming from cardInfo.date.getMonth will get the index. And what do we have here? We have the name of the month, and that is coming from month's name. So I'll just get that month's name, and this is the index I want to access. And if you want to make it like 3-digit or something, you can just take 3. You can just say slice from 0 to 2. Let's refresh it and see if it is working or not. Can you see here? The date is 26 and here the month is JA. It should be 0 to 3. Refresh it and you'll get 26 and Jan. And this is a dynamic date that we are getting from cardInfo, right? So we are done with date. Here, instead of src image, we'll just say it is coming from cardinfo.image URL. Similarly, here instead of photos, we know it is coming from category. So here we'll say cardinfo.category. Similarly, this is the title, so we'll just say cardinfo.title. Here we have subtitle, we have description here, and here we have things like 6 minutes ago. We don't need that. We'll just remove this part, and here instead of 39 comments, we'll say cardinfo.comments. Now, when you refresh it, you'll see that all the information here will change. And that is what we can see here. That we have city lights in New York coming from title, then we have date, then we have 67 comments that is coming here, we have description, we have category, photo, image URL, etc. So in this way, we created a card using JSX, and the way we did that, by writing JSX, that is a very similar structure of HTML. The important thing about JSX is it is a bit different from HTML. So instead of class, you write class name. In HTML, it's optional to close image element, but in JSX, you always have to close all the elements. It doesn't matter whether it is image or it is input. You always have to close every element in JSX. And another thing is, like in JSX, you can write any kind of JavaScript expressions between curly brackets, and that is what we are doing here. So here we are getting date from JavaScript, date object, and here we are using methods like slice on string. So in this way, we completed this exercise.